Yeah, Mark, these are very mature basketball teams, as you mentioned, with the portal. These guys have, in some cases, this is their third stop, so we should see some high-level, high-quality, sense of urgency basketball here today, Mark.
See the starting five for Iowa State. You get Gabe Kalsher, who's a Minnesota transfer. Quickly, we get a foul that goes against Timmy Allen. So the guy who leads Texas in scoring and rebounding picks up a foul within the first 16 seconds.
Yeah, very deliberate. Looked like Inaru, excuse me, was trying to post up right under the basket, try to exploit Timmy Allen.
Holy smokes, he just picked up a second foul.
Wow. Before the
inbounds on an illegal screen. Unbelievable for Texas, and Timmy Allen is coming out 16 seconds into the game with 2 fouls.
Huge, and a replacement of one of Coach Beard's favorite players in Askew, but Timmy Allen has been the one consistent constant for Texas on either end of the floor, so this is a huge loss, causing adjustments for Texas.
That is not an understatement. I don't know if I've ever seen that where a team, you can make an argument. You say Texas doesn't really have a star player, but if you had to point one out, it's Timmy Allen, and he's picked up 2 fouls. That is a shot block nicely done by Andrew Jones.
Thing that makes him a star is his consistency for Texas. To your point, it's the closest thing to it. But his consistency is off the charts for Texas.
Askew's in the game. Here's Jones going baseline. Nice move, but then he lost the handle of the ball as it was knocked out of his hands. It'll stay with Texas.
Well, good job by Texas finding the mismatch. You got Condit trying to guard a perimeter player like Jones. Certainly want to attack the feet and force the big to have to stay in front of the guard, Mark.
Now we're going to have to see how long, if Chris Beard elects to bring Timmy Allen back at some point in this first half. Marcus Carr, who is a teammate of Kalsher's at Minnesota, this is the first shot of the game for Texas.
Yeah, and Texas is extremely small right now with the exception of Bishop, so there will be mismatches different places on the floor.
Condit saw an open lane to the basket, but Bishop was able to catch up defensively from behind. Carr kicks it to the corner. A wide open 3 is good for Andrew Jones.
Andrew Jones picking up where he left off against Oklahoma. He had a breakout game of sorts. He's in a groove, in the flow. He did something similar last year where he got going. Looks like he's at that point in this season now, Mark. Great block by Bishop there, and then Texas usually uses its defense to create offense. Finding Jones is the right thing to do because he is the hot man for Texas at this point in the season.
And Aruna passes to the corner. A Hunter 3 is off the back heel. And Aruna with the offensive rebound for the Cyclones.
Boy, and Aruna has really reinvented himself since transferring from Kansas. He's found a home where he can rebound the ball and create opportunities.
That is an offensive foul against Aruna, I believe.
Carr did a good job of selling that. Aruna was not set.
He's indeed against Aruna. Iowa State foul. 2 minutes into the game. 3-0 Texas. And again, the Horns. Timmy Allen on the bench, who picked up 2 fouls in the first 16 seconds. They try to trap Carr, and then Dessou a travel as he got that pass in the lane.
Well, the right thing by Carr, he didn't attack the double team. He distanced himself, retreated, found an open Dessou. He's just got to take his time. Dessou is extremely explosive, probably the most explosive player for Texas, so he can create offense from that point on the floor.
And Aruna double, bounce pass out of it, quick pass, and there is a block. Dylan Dessou there with the rejection.
And that's the kind of explosion I'm talking about. He does it on both ends of the floor. Great help side defense. He's been a welcome addition to this Texas ball club, missing 8 games early, but he's come in as a 4-man and been exceptional.
Rocky-Ted loses the handle, able to save it along the sideline. Driving towards the basket, floats it up, did not hit rim. And Iowa State has missed their first 5 shots from the field to start today. Texas 1 of 2 from the field. One of those at Jones, 3. His pass deflected right to Cunningham. Dessou, a floater. And it's 5-0 Texas.
That's just a great finish by Dessou. That's the kind of finish he could have had when he caught the ball at the top of the key. No one was in front of him. He can score in the mid-range.
Kalsher off the left side. 1 and done for Iowa State. Kalsher, though, coming off 4 made threes in the loss to Kansas on Tuesday night. And he was close to having a game-winning 3 at the end. Carr fouled.
Texas does a good job of funneling the ball defensively and getting it in the hands of people they want taking shots. Kalsher only shooting about 24% from beyond the arc, so that plays into Texas's hands if he's going to get up a lot of threes, Mark.
DJ Otzelberger in season number 1 as the head coach, of course, back in Ames after serving as an assistant under the 3 head coaches prior to him, Greg McDermott, Fred Hoiberg, and Steve Prohm.
My personal coach of the year thus far. He's done an exceptional job.
All on the deck. Kuntz dives onto it, and then it's tied up. Iowa State was wanting a jump-on foul there. It will be Iowa State ball. By the way, Tristan Enaruna did pick up his 2nd foul for Iowa State on the earlier sequence, so he's on the bench.
Trey Mitchell, he had a game he missed, came back and didn't play a whole lot, and he's just been struggling, Mark, to get back into a flow. You see it there as he gets stripped with the basketball. He's got to block out the pass in terms of being a little bit out of rhythm and a little out of shape and be more aggressive as he was earlier in the season.
0 of 5 start, that 0 of 6 start from the field for Iowa State. 3 of those have been 3-point attempts.
A lot of that's imposed by Texas and its defense, staying a little small, but really in the face of people on the perimeter.
Brockington from behind. Carr almost stripped it. Kuntz a 3. And there's the first points of the afternoon for the Cyclones.
Well, that's what you have to do when Texas leaves to help. Carr did that. Left Jazz, as they like to call him, open for the clean look. With Texas, you're going to have to make shots.
Chris Beard here early in this game is his leading scorer and rebounder. Timmy Allen picked up 2 fouls in the first 16 seconds of the game and has been sitting since. Out of the timeout, Cyclone ball.
Yeah, a little token pressure. Texas does such a good job of switching up defenses. That's why they rank so highly in that category.
Caleb Grill around and out. And out of bounds, they say last touched by Robert Jones of Iowa State. Yeah, these are 2 outstanding defensive teams. As you see, Timmy Allen, you know, we've seen a lot of basketball over the years, Lance. I don't know if I've ever seen a guy who's been the leading scorer and rebounder get 2 fouls in the first 16 seconds of a game.
Yeah, it's a huge adjustment that Texas has had to make because of that. Brings is so important for this Texas ball club.
Trey Mitchell pushed. You're going to get Kuntz on the foul. Actually, they're going to give it to Brockington, who was on the other side of that defensively. Number 1 on Brockington.
Yeah, you look at both teams, which both teams are so good defensively. They're bringing help to the box from the baseline, which is sometimes difficult for bigs to maneuver. They're clearly not going to give up anything easy. Either ball club force the ball where they want it on the floor and out of the hands of guys that can score like Trey Mitchell.
The Cyclones, on average, allowing opponents about 59 points per game, number 14 in the nation. Texas, similar neighborhood defensively, had a little issue with the clock, so Darren George, part of our 3-man crew with Rick Crawford, Brooks Wells this afternoon in Ames. Mitchell facing up on Kuntz.
Yeah, and see, no double team here. The double team's going to come.
That's on Kuntz. That's team foul number 4 in this first half against the Cyclones.
Well, you talked about it a moment ago, Mark, with the fouls early against Timmy Allen. So you've got to know that as a player. There's going to be quick whistles. And the things I appreciate about the officiating is consistency. We're seeing that now on both sides of the floor.
Kuntz and the fans here thought he got a lot of basketball on that last one. Mitchell, 3 out front. Grill pulling down the rebound for Iowa State. Freshman guard Tyrese Hunter.
Ramey is on an all-out deny of Brockington. Can't even pass him the ball to get offense through him.
That leaves Grill open, around and out on that 3-point attempt. Courtney Ramey brings it ahead. Carr quickly into the corner. That's a 3 that's up from Febres into the heel of the rim.
Febres, he is a good shooter. Doesn't reflect it with percentages. Since he had that injury last year, he just hasn't found the form he once had with the ability to make shots from beyond the arc.
Jones trying to back down Carr. He's got the size advantage, and before the help defense of Bishop can get over, he lays it up and in.
Well, that's one of the mismatches.
On the steal, Grill.
Well, that still allowed the crowd to get into this game, Mark.
7-0 run for the Cyclones. They take their first lead, but now commit a foul to stop the clock.
Iowa State did a great job of finding the mismatch. There you see Carr trying to do something with Jones, and the help comes extremely late, and then the turnover, the crowd gets in the game. That foul there, to me, Mark, that's a huge foul because you had the crowd and a level of momentum. Now you quiet the crowd, quiet your own crowd, and literally stop what could have been sizable momentum.
Robert Jones, number 12, he picked up the personal foul. He checks out. Condit has come back in for Iowa State.
He got caught up in the moment.
Brockington on Jones. Screen set to Sue, and then some help defense from Condit. 4 to shoot. Askew may not realize that. It's down to 1. Ramey throws it up. Got it! Oh, a 3 at the end of the shot clock. Little fire drill there for Texas, but it works out for the Horns.
And a huge 3 for Texas. Ramey has to beat Brockington on the offensive side of the floor. That's his job, because you see him denying the ball to Brockington defensively.
Drill 3 trying to answer for Iowa State, but cannot.
Three-point shooting is going to be a key for Iowa State because of the all-out denial of the ball with Brockington, because they like to play through him on the offensive end of the floor.
Ramey gives it up. Jones adjusts, shoots a 3, and there's the second made 3 already today for Andrew Jones.
Second in a row for Texas. Those are huge. Texas did a good job of dodging that bullet of momentum and coming back with their own version of momentum with the made 3s, Mark.
Brockington trying to clear a little space. Can't get it to fall. But he's fouled by Cunningham, and it's 2 free throws upcoming from Brockington.
Brockington moves so well without the ball, and that's an example. He's got to keep moving because Texas is going to throw multiple guys at him there. It was not only Ramey, but Cunningham. So if you're Iowa State, Mark, I know you do a lot of football, you're going to be throwing the ball into coverage, if you will, every time you're trying to get the man, this man the ball. But a good job by Iowa State by not vacating, making sure he gets touches on the offensive end, Mark.
Brockington with the free throw. Lance, as we see Trey Jackson check in along with Kalsher. Carr comes in for Texas. You mentioned the 3-point shooting. Texas 3 of 6 to start the day. Iowa State just 1 of 7.
And that's been the key, in my estimation, for Texas to have this lead, is other guys have not been able to make shots consistently early in this game. And Texas, clearly their plan is to force other guys to make plays beyond Brockington.
Brockington top 3 in the Big 12 in free throw shooting. Knocks down a pair, making a 2-point game. Condit being aggressive with the Sioux. Kalsher, who's an outstanding on-ball defender. A little space cleared by Carr. Comes off, and Cunningham a rebound on the offside. They look to trap him. It's back out for Jones. Jones in the lane. Bounce pass. Askew. Wow, how about this defense today.
It's incredible on both sides. And I feel so bad for them because Coach Weber's done a great job of retooling and reloading with Noel and Pack and those guys, and they've just had some tough losses. I know you did one against TCU, who is also going to scare some people going through this league, Mark.
Kalsher gets trapped, had it knocked away, and it goes out of bounds off Iowa State.
That's a place that Texas is bread is butter, turning people over. But Texas on this end, they've got to be careful. They already have 5 turnovers here, only not even midway through the first half. They average about 10 a game, and it's a place they excel, but they're struggling today.
There's their 6th turnover. Trey Jackson takes it the other way and lays it in with the left hand to tie the game at 11.
Well, right on cue, and Jackson does a good job of picking up where Hunter, the point guard, left off with the steal and the nice finish.
Cunningham looking. A 4-0 run here for Iowa State has tied this game back up after Texas scored the game's first 5 points. Fade away for Ramey, kicks off the right side. Kept alive by Bishop to Jones. Couple of chances there for Texas.
Yeah, that's a good time to shoot that 3 right after an offensive rebound, but on that instance, you got to know time and clock. Jones might have been a little too quick with the trigger.
Timmy Allen has come to the scores table for Texas. Check back in the game after 2 fouls in the first 16 seconds of the game. 16-footer, Kalsher, he knocks it home.
Well, Cunningham closed out too hard there. Kalsher did a good job of the pump fake and drive. He only shoots about 24% from beyond the arc. Mark, you've got to know your personnel and do what's called closeout short.
Left him alone again, and Andrew Jones has hit 3 threes already.
Yeah, and he's doing it in context that time. I thought the offensive rebound on the last possession was a little out of context. He's much better when he's in rhythm and he shoots it in context of the offense. Texas can exploit the possible mismatch with Cunningham on the block against Dallas.
That is a 3 from Kuntz. So he answers the Jones 3 with one of his own. Already 5 lead changes midway through this first half. Jones on the drive. He may have gotten foul number 2 on Brockington. So ironically, just as Timmy Allen is about to check back in the game for Texas with 2 fouls, we'll see if Brockington stays on the floor with 2.
Yeah, Brockington is an aggressive defensive player. Thought Jones had an opportunity to get a foul from beyond the arc. He got him in the air, but he did a good job of putting pressure on Brockington. Guys that guard you that as hard as Brockington likes to guard guys on the perimeter, you do exactly what Jones did. You attack them and force the official to make a call.
Jones, an outstanding free throw shooter, knocks down the first. You see Timmy Allen coming in, again 2 fouls in the first 16 seconds. He's back on the floor for the first time since then here at the 9:20 mark. And Brockington with 2 fouls for Iowa State checks out. Brockington at this point 2 points. 0 of 1 from the field, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 2 personal fouls. So I would think Chris Beard and Texas's game plan of trying to limit Brockington, at least at this juncture, has worked out for them.
It's worked out extremely well. They work hard at it, and there's a reason, Mark, that they are tops in the nation with their defense. Not only is it personnel, it's system and strategic game plan.
And Aruna's playing with 2 fouls. He has his shot blocked by Jones. Card tried to take the rebound away. Kalsher elects to shoot a 3.
That is a huge 3 for Iowa State. Anything they can get from beyond the arc is extremely big for Iowa State, Mark.
Grill gets to the loose ball, does a little twist and lays it in. Well, if you thought a foot of snow would keep 14,500 fans out of Hilton Coliseum, you would be dead wrong. They do go quiet quickly, though, when they see something happen to their team.
Well, again, they're turning Texas over. Iowa State does another over does a very good job. And what's happening is those are live ball turnovers. And live ball turnovers turn into easy baskets.
Texas now 7 turnovers. Iowa State's turned it over twice. That's another key stat we need to watch today.
Yeah, we do. And then also Carr is on the bench, and I think in large part because those turnovers, not only is he not scoring the ball, he has 3 turnovers. He's got to be the guy who can negate the perimeter for Iowa State.
Condon on the grab picked up his first foul. He comes out, but it's the 7th team foul. So it's going to put Texas at the line for a 1-and-1 for Trey Mitchell.
Yeah, a lot of strategy, chess playing in this game because you have guys, as you've mentioned, Mark, who are in foul trouble, have mismatch issues because Texas is playing at times small and then big. Got stars on the bench, Brockington, and to your point, being taken out of the game offensively. So this game is as much a chess match as it is a battle of wills.
Both these teams come in 13-3 overall on the season. Texas 3-1 in conference. Iowa State 1-3. I mentioned, though, a lot of similarities between these two teams.
Texas had some good fortune with some COVID issues, health and safety protocol in their early conference play. Kansas State, West Virginia.
Jackson, nice shot. Trey Jackson. One of the holdovers from last year's team for Iowa State.
Yeah, and not only a holdover, it's just a pick you up, if you will, from Hunter, their starting freshman, being on the bench.
5-point lead. Largest of the game for Iowa State. Askew. Allen from the left elbow. First shot of the game for Timmy Allen. Swishes it home.
Doesn't look pretty, but he can do that. He can make shots, especially timely shots when needed.
Oh, the screen.
Iowa State, too, has very good defense as we see them come out with some pressure here in the backcourt.
Interesting, during that timeout as we came back, we saw TJ Otzelberger talking with Brockington. There's a trap in the backcourt, and he can't get it over.
10-second call.
Wasn't even close.
Yeah, and I mentioned sleeping at the wheel. You've got to know, if you're Askew, you're the point guard, you've got to know you got 10 seconds to get the ball into the front court. Really, the only positive with this, Mark, is that it's not a live ball turnover. But nonetheless, you give yet another possession to Iowa State, and they're going to jump on that.
Under 7 minutes to play first half in Ames. 3-point lead for the Cyclones in this top 25 matchup at Hilton Coliseum. To have you with us, along with Lance Blanks, I'm Mark Neely. Tyrese Hunter.
They got a mismatch now.
Down to 1. He's got to force it up. Did not hit the rim, so that kind of takes the sting out of that last Texas turnover, not getting the ball across in time. As there's a shot clock violation for Iowa State.
Yeah, and you see Askew goes to the bench. And Coach Beard looking for a guard to step up and handle the pressure, get them in the offense.
Timmy Allen's the one that's going to bring it ahead.
That's right, and he can do that. He can insert the offense.
Transfer from Utah, picked up 2 fouls in the first 16 seconds today. Another Texas turnover. Jones almost swiped it right back. Kelcher finds an opening. Aruna for a 3 from the corner.
And Arunu, again, he's reinvented himself, stretching the floor. The bigs for Iowa State can do that. That's been the key and the story thus far with the turnovers, the made shots from beyond the arc, Mark, for Iowa State.
Carr, pull up, got it. for the moment, quiets the Hilton Coliseum crowd.
Yeah, you can't be on your heels if you're Texas, because right now it looks to me like Iowa State is the aggressor.
Bodies go crashing. Ball goes out of bounds. It is still with Iowa State.
Let's see what that last shot for Texas does for Carr. She gets up a little gimpy.
That was his first bucket of the game. Had missed his first 2 from the field.
They need him. So far today, it's been a net negative for Carr, but they need his offense and as well as his aggression.
Down low, Jones got position and able to lay it in.
If I'm Iowa State, I'm looking for my bigs coming off of screens because Texas likes to switch. They got caught that time with poor rotation.
Askew, he lost the handler, just threw it away. Well, the turnovers continue to mount up. That's 10. Jones this time, a chance for a 3-point play, and Timmy Allen just picked up his 3rd foul.
Well, the bigs for Iowa State, they do a good job of moving and playing off their guards. There, Hunter, the hockey pass, I thought created that, but also the lack of pressure on Hunter. He finds Jones streaking to the basket. The easy finish.
Robert Jones, who played 2 years at Denver, Minnesota native, can't finish the 3-point play. But it is an 8-point lead for Iowa State, the largest of the game. You got Allen in there with 3 fouls. Jones, who's been their leading scorer, rounded out. He has 11 first-down points. Aruna picked up the foul, and who is that foul on? Allen was in the vicinity along with Bishop.
I think that was on Kauscher.
All right.
He got caught wrestling down with the Texas bigs under the basket.
I got the team wrong, but let's look underneath.
Yeah, you saw the right arm flail out.
It was slightly away from the ball where Aruna came down with a rebound. Kauscher behind him. That's the call, so it's a 1-and-1 for Bishop. Gets to the line.
I think that's a huge foul to benefit Texas again. Even though the fans are booing, keeps them quiet.
Well, Bishop had made 20 straight free throws coming into today, and he misses the front end of the 1-and-1.
Texas has to be careful here with a huge momentum shift. They score here, Mark. You've been in here a ton of times. I think the roof comes off this place.
Reverse, and Aruna. 10-point lead. Texas needing a basket. Can they get it from Jones? The tip.
That was offensive basket interference. It was over the cylinder
On Bishop.
What a great pass. I mean, look at that. Right under the outstretched hand of Bishop. And Bishop also was in no man's land. Cyclones are doing an exceptional job of finding bigs when they cut and roll around the basket.
Texas has gotten Timmy Allen back out of the game with 3 fouls. 6-0 run in the last minute and a half plus for Iowa State. So look at that as a 9-2 run. Kauscher.
You got to make him shoot threes. If you're Texas, he's very good inside the arc. Especially Kauscher stepping up in a big way. And Mark, this is a guy that can score the basketball. He had 30 points earlier this season in a win against Memphis on 10 of 18 shooting. He made shots from beyond the arc in that game, but he is the guy that now you can't leave because he's getting it done on the perimeter.
Kauscher. Shooting with the left hand. Didn't get it to the rim. Here's Texas. Carr. The trap. Cunningham almost lost it out of bounds. Texas with 12 turnovers in this first half. They had only 11 total turnovers in the game against Oklahoma on Tuesday, as Jones has been the leading scorer for Texas. He now has 13.
Well, if you're Texas, you got to do two things here. You got to keep Coucher quiet. Got to cover the perimeter with Jazz, who's been knocking down threes. But also, Mark, you've got to keep this crowd out of the game.
Coates.
Poor Matt, that was three things. But I think the momentum piece is important.
It is, especially here.
Exactly.
Out there for Mitchell.
That was just like Daisico. That was a fadeaway jump hook. He's got to be a little more demonstrative in shooting that ball.
Condit had Cunningham flipped to the offside, but again able to get back.
That's discipline. 1-2 dribbles and a dunk.
This time an Iowa State turnover. Their 5th of the half. Down low. Well, now this should be basket interference.
Yep.
Yes.
You might get a bucket.
Yeah, they're going to count it and the foul. So this will be a chance for a three-point play for Trey Mitchell.
Yeah, good job getting that up. Condit held the rim, perhaps, Mark, to protect himself. Then Mitchell does a great job of flipping that up. He holds the rim.
Second foul on Condit, no question about the basket interference there. Kind of hard to hit one when the one side of the rim is skewed to the left side. And there's three-point play finished by Mitchell.
Kind of reminds me of a little theme park I'd go to, trying to make those shots. The basket was always wrong with it, Mark.
Well, as you shoot, man, it doesn't matter. They could be moving the basket around on a cart. You still hit it.
I wish.
Under 2 minutes to go. What a half it's been for Iowa State. Loose ball out of bounds, staying with the Cyclones. Brockington's going to come back with 2 fouls with 1:49 left.
This is a bit of a dice roll, putting Brockington back in the game. The other end of the floor, if I'm Texas, I'm going to go at him, force him to have to guard and not foul.
Coates using that height to prevent Carr from coming away with a steal on the inbounds. Just 5 to shoot. Hunter puts it up. Andrew Jones has been the best offensive weapon in this first half for the Horns. Mitchell, Cunningham, short corner, good. Use it or lose it. That was a good time to use it nonetheless for the Cyclones.
And the thing that Chris Beard has with his team is they come out in a zone. There's a deep bench, so he's found a mix that's working here. Sure, he'll ride this all the way to halftime.
17-footer Hunter.
Texas likes to switch. Good job by Hunter exploiting the bigger Mitchell, but Texas has a mismatch here with Hunter trying to guard a much bigger Mitchell.
And Mitchell, his pass intended for Ramey is picked off by Coucher.
Yeah, Mitchell has to stay on the block. How can you let the little fella push you all the way out to the 3 to catch that ball?
13 Texas turnover. Here's Hunter. That last trip down the floor, his first bucket. He does have 4 assists. That is a blocking foul. Brock Cunningham.
Yeah, see, it's not fair because Hunter's doing what he should do when he has a mismatch, and here's one. A little back step, create a little space, and shoot right over the big. Mitchell, on the other hand, Mark, when he had him posted up, Hunter posted up on the block. He comes away from the block and catches it at the three-point line. That's not fair fight. You got to make the little fella try to get something done on the block.
Well, Hunter at the line here. This, by the way, will be a 1-and-1. Just under 36 seconds left. Aruna is going to come in with 2 fouls for Iowa State.
Hunter is such a smart freshman.
Brockington out, as you see, so they don't want to risk him getting his third foul.
Yeah,
in this final half minute.
Risk enough having him on the floor, but Hunter, the freshman, he is so mature in his decision making. Poise, talking to the bench.
This is a guy who's second on the team at scoring, coming in 10 points per game, but he's been floor general mostly in this first half.
He's not a greedy scorer. He's very unselfish. Iowa State comes with some more of that pressure.
Got about a 3-second difference shot clock to game clock here, so Texas can wind down most of this first half clock, if not all of it, depending when this first shot comes.
They've got it in the leading scorer's hands. It's a 1-4 flat action. Will the screen come up for him, or will they just leave it wide open?
He's trying to generate contact. Cunningham, the bucket. Clock rolling. 5 seconds. 3. Oh, there's a foul. Carr commits a foul. And the basket. Oh, they're waving the basket off. Woo! What a wild last couple of seconds. Carr, number 1, commits a foul. 60 feet from the basket. And then Kuntz throws it up. It goes in. But they wave off the basket.
Yeah, and it was a ticky-tack, silly foul. But, Mark, you called it on the Jones shot. I thought perhaps maybe possible foul there. So I thought no foul would be called on Carr. Because there was no foul call, they were going to let him play on. But certainly not the finish that Texas wanted after the shot was made by Cunningham.
So this is a 1-and-1 for Kuntz. And he misses. And a heave by Jones in the way this first hit.
The pressure of the environment. You've got to tip your hat to these fans coming out in this snowstorm, or on the back of this snowstorm.
And they've come out in force, have they not?
Yeah, they have, creating that, helping with the turnovers. You talk about in football, the 12th man, in basketball, the 6th man, if you will. Well, the fans, I think, have created a pressure environment for these Texas Longhorns.
Takes more than a foot of snow. It's not the Cyclone fans who immediately get something to cheer about. There's Brockington's first made field goal of the game. His only 2 points in the first half came from the foul line.
Yeah, action to get him the ball right into the basket. But Carr took himself out of the play trying to go for that steal. Gave up too much, literally landing almost halfway into the paint.
Mitchell a miss, offensive rebound, going back up strong is Bishop. I do see Timmy Allen has come to the scorer's table to check in for Texas at the next dead ball. The freshman Tyrese Hunter, who committed a season-high 5 turnovers at Kansas on Tuesday night. No turnovers in the first half. And there's Kalsher picking up where he left off with his second made 3 of the game.
Well, that's huge when he starts to stretch the floor, because typically he gets it done inside of the arc, but he's feeling so good and so comfortable and confident. He's able to knock down shots. Takes a lot of pressure off of Iowa State and Brockington if he's going this well offensively.
Ramey, open 3. Tipped around. Bishop battling Condit. And it's Iowa State ball.
Good job by Bishop. I thought he was out of position, but he didn't give up on it. Saw Jones there a little late. He's got to have that hand up early, particularly on a guy who is in a rhythm and rolling here in this game today, Mark.
Bishop did pick up a foul on that last play on the battle along the baseline. Kalsher, by the way, first Cyclone player today to double figure scoring. He has 10. Hunter going to step back, take a 3 off the front rim.
I'm going to let him go chase that, because he's just been extremely good. Hunter has for this ball club.
You'll excuse him that shot right there, yeah.
I am, because we talk about the pressure that Texas has succumbed to. He's been the opposite. He's like you. He's like a savvy veteran out there, taking the moment and the bull by the horns, if you will, or should I say the longhorn by the horns.
Brockington, long 18-footer over Ramey is short. Ramey fires back. Carr, three. Good. Big bucket for Texas.
Yeah, thank you. There's got to be a little pride involved in this with Carr. That's a freshman leading his team this way, and Carr averaged about 20 points a game last year with Minnesota and has struggled a little bit to find the balance between passing and scoring. I think tonight he needs to, or today he needs to be aggressive scoring the basketball for Texas, Mark. Got a mismatch here. What does Hunter do with it?
Hunter gets it back, lost the dribble.
Ooh, unable to turn the corner.
Coucher, three. Good. Already a second three of the half, third of the game for Gabe Coucher.
Well, Jones is plugging the ball on the offensive end and poking a hole in it in the defensive end.
Condit a block. Lazy pass, but Hunter waiting on that is fouled as he gets near the bucket. And Allen, look at this last play.
Yeah, Hunter, he couldn't turn the corner. He had it here. But Jones, who got his hand on the ball, maybe you thought that was good, wasn't disciplined enough to stay with Coucher.
And it was on Allen, that last foul, so he just picked up his fourth. 16:42 to go.
Yeah, Coucher is doing a little bit of a Brockington impersonation in that he's the guy right now for Iowa State. So the way Texas has guarded Brockington, taking him out, is by face guarding him, denying him the ball, being where he is at all times. They haven't done that with Coucher. He's making them pay, but you have to guard him similarly at this point in the game.
Jones in for Iowa State. We saw Timmy Allen go to the bench before for Texas. So before this game started, Lance, if we had said, okay, who are the two stars? One for each side. We would have said Brockington. We've documented what Beard and Texas have done, trying to take him out offensively from this game, but the other Iowa State players have responded. On the other side, it's Timmy Allen for Texas, but it's been foul issues that have taken him away.
Yeah, it's been a struggle for him. And he doesn't always score. He can score, but his connectivity with this team obviously keeps him out of kilter.
Hunter on the deck, gets it to Brockington, three, Coucher.
He has been absolutely phenomenal.
It's an Iowa State team that hasn't shot badly from the field this year, 45%, but they're 10 points right now above that, 56%. 4 minutes gone here in the second half. Now can Texas try and respond? Jones, he's been their answer from three-point land and is once again.
Jones can't give it and take it away, though. That's a great shot by Jones. He's got to step up his defense on this end. He's the guy who's guarding Coucher. Oh, that was a switch.
A little off the left side, but Brockington, the offensive rebound, the blind pass to Jones in the lane.
The thing you like about Brockington is he's a winner, Mark. He plays to win. He had every reason to go try to find a basket, but he found the open man.
Dessou adjusts and scores. But I like what you're saying about Brockington. That offensive rebound and quick assist was like, hey, you may be trying to take away my offensive game, but I will do other things on this floor to beat you today.
That's right. Coaches talk about winning plays. That's exactly what that was.
Brockington gets another offensive rebound.
Statistically, but this is not a team that goes up and down the floor. So anything they do this season, in my estimation, has to be done on this end of the floor.
Brockington coming out of the timeout, Lance. They set up something to get their star a shot, and he knocks it down.
Yeah, he came off the little rub screen and got the shot right where he loves it. The elbow area is where he likes to get things done. Only 17% of his shots come from beyond the arc, so he's a two-point shooter. Avery Benson sighting, who's at Texas Tech with Beard.
And Tristan Lacombe is in the game.
Yep.
So I think we're seeing one of the answers to the question I just asked. Chris Beard is basically saying, hey, I'm going to go to the bench. I got to try something else.
Yeah, Lacombe has done a great job from Sol Ross. He transferred to UT. Coach Beard loves him. He plays a lot, obviously, in practice on the scout team. Very smart player, and you can't leave him open because he can knock down shots.
Marcus Carr.
Carr has to be aggressive when the momentum has not shifted, if you will.
See the numbers, 53 points per game for Texas opponents, fewest in the nation, and Iowa State has already exceeded that with 13, almost 14 minutes still to go.
How about the pressure on Lacone that put on Kauscher?
Carr, all right, Marcus Carr saying, hey, time for us, myself included.
Well, yeah,
wake up and get back in the game.
Well, and you have no Jones on the floor now, so Carr has to be the guy on the perimeter to lead the offense. And then defensively, these guys for Texas, they're sitting in people's laps. They have a switch.
Texas has made their last 4 shots. Cut this down to single digits, back to double digits thanks to Kuntz.
It won't show up in the box score, but Jazz did a great job with the little fake. Cunningham got caught trying to switch, turned around and knocked down the shot.
Block on Kuntz.
Watch the little fake here. You'll see him right there, and you're caught, man. I'm going to make you pay the piper. Just a little subtlety. All you'll see is the 2 points in the box score. But it's those little nuances sometimes, Mark, that can get you the win, get you the opportunity, create opportunity for you and your ball club.
Kuntz just picked up his 3rd foul. He goes out along with 3 of his teammates. So J. Otzelberger bringing in 4 new bodies. Bishop's pass gathered by Dessou, trying to clear some space. Then shovels it around, trying to get it to Bishop, but it's deflected out of bounds off Texas.
A little too aggressive. We talked about it earlier with the double team coming from the backside. He didn't see it. Mark, you've got to take a dribble away from the basket and release that pressure while turning towards the basket and make a much better pass so you can see the floor.
Season high 16 turnovers from the Longhorns. Double dribble on Grill.
Yeah, the other thing that's going on here is this is a good job by Coach Beard, Mark. What he's done is put in guys that haven't played a lot. Perhaps you haven't scouted. These teams and coaches watch a ton of tape. But my question would be, how many times have you watched tape with this lineup on the floor with Benson, Lacone, etc.?
Is there tape to find?
There's some probably against Sam Houston State.
Mitchell, Trey Mitchell is stuffed. And Texas getting that offensive flow back. Pull it within 9.
Yeah, but you've got to maintain the pressure at Iowa State when the momentum again has not shifted. Texas doing a great job thus far with this unique lineup.
A Grill 3. Hit about every part of the rim without going in.
Boy, that was a great tap out by the big for Texas.
Carr tried to kiss. An aggressive rebound yanked down by Tristan Enaruna.
Yeah, but you'll live with it because you need an aggressive Carr, especially with Jones not being in the game. He's been the offensive anchor for Texas on the perimeter.
Rockington. Tough pickup for Grill. Bodies on the floor. Lacone was able to save it and give it for Texas.
What a job by Lacone, really making his presence felt.
Well, off the right side, tipped back in, no.
You know, a lot of times coaches will say, I'll play anybody, and they kind of mean it, but not really. Well, clearly, Coach Beard means it with these 2 on the floor who are giving it all back to him with a lot of heart, particularly here on the defensive end.
Grill going to try it from the corner. 3-pointer.
Well, that's Carr. Grill knocked it down. Coach Beard knows he can make that shot. He got caught, not trapped. Surprised me. I expect them to get a little higher as the season progresses. The thing about this conference, Mark, is you can't use teams' record as an indication of how good they are. K-State, you and I, we've seen them. That's not an upset. Maybe on paper it is. He can make that.
Just a hair long. Benson the rebound. Ramey passes up the 3. Will take a long 2 and knock it down.
Texas choosing to go away.
Still a lot of time to go. We're not even midway through this second half.
Keeping LaCone and Brad Avery Vincent on the floor.
Who would have thought that before this game began?
Well, you would have thought it may be a moment, but they're serious.
Bishop creates a steal with the quick hands.
Yeah, I mean, for Coach Beard, this is real.
Ramey in a crowd around 3 white jerseys. LaCone.
Good decision.
Mitchell can't hit the 3.
Texas better be careful. LaCone may end up in the rotation after this performance. But bringing back the big guns as they sit at the scores table for Texas.
Give you an idea about LaCone. Played 13 seconds the other night, mop up against Oklahoma. Didn't play at all at K-State or Oklahoma State. Played 1 minute against West Virginia. And there's Kalsher.
Yeah, and originally he was going to just help and maybe be a grad assistant, if you will, and one thing led to the next, and here he is at Iowa State on the floor trying to help Texas get a win. Kalsher does a great job. Defense collapses.
That was his second assist, by the way, to go along with 16 points, 4 made threes.
What the Iowa State guys have done a very good job of, Hunter, Brockington, and even Kalsher. They haven't forced anything. Kalsher had his moment, and LaCone came in the game, and it was no longer his moment. Began to share the ball.
So Aruna go to the bench for Iowa State with 3. Kalsher got underneath Carr.
Carr has to recognize that when he's aggressive, positive things happen.
Carr has 10 points. He has 4 of 9 from the field. He's hit 2 of 4 3-point shots, 4 assists. Turned it over 3 times in his 26 minutes.
Yeah, he's been much better here in the second half. He's settled down a bit. And also, I think sometimes when he has scores on the court, he yields to them a little too much.
Kept alive, Mitchell. Ripped away by Robert Jones.
Yeah, you got to put that ball on the chin.
High time this year now that Iowa State has picked up 10 or more steals in a game. Loose underneath. Carr saves it along the baseline. Hunter can't punch it out. Carr is shoveled. The 3, Ramey.
And that's what I mean about opportunistic running for Texas. It was a quick shot.
It was an open 3.
Yeah, and you'll live with it because it's Ramey.
Koontz lost the handle, but there's Jackson to pick him up. Away from the ball.
That's on Dessou. He was holding Koontz, who was trying to cut.
Number 30, Mark Cunningham checks into the Texas lineup, replacing Trey Mitchell.
Bit of a lull here. I think the team, if it stays like this, obviously, in terms of the pace, the game, this advantage goes to Iowa State. But if Texas can get a run here, Mark, gives them a great opportunity to get back in this game while the Cyclones struggle a bit to score on this end of the floor.
Eight minutes to go in Ames. Finds the shoot. Hunter reverses. I will say, I'll use the term quietly, has had a really good game, but maybe it's not as quiet as I think.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. He's been exceptional. And that time, Allen was on him, and Allen can't foul. Very smart of them. If I'm Iowa State, I go where Allen is. And Texas likes to switch. If Allen switches, you go right back to the man he's guarding.
Allen gets a steal. He has 2 points today. Only played 7 minutes. Supporting dad, whose team has a 12-point lead with 7:19 to play. And Offensive rebound and put in by Jones. Maybe that's the kind of play that Texas has been looking for right there on a missed free throw.
Yeah, that's called a break. A great break.
And they get a steal.
Great decision there. Great decision by Carr.
I was wondering if he was going to shoot it.
Yeah, you and me both.
They look to trap him, and then the defense creates another steal, and Texas has a season-high 17 turnovers. They get 18. Sue pleading his case, and he earns the foul. A hold to Jones.
And that last turnover, Carr will get credited for it, but I don't put it on Carr. The receiver has to come meet that ball. You have to know that there's pressure all around you from Iowa State.
Brockington, good defense by Carr, who went up to challenge it.
Carr's a totally different player this second half.
Trying to weave through traffic. Takes the hard contact from Jones. And he'll shoot two with 6:28 to play.
Yeah, the ability to get fouled, that is a skill. He has that. Carr. Someone's told him to score. He takes a hit, takes another hit. He really had no chance of going in there and finishing, but did a great job of creating contact with the bigs. If you're a small guy, it's exactly how you want to play that when you're going downhill against much taller, longer people.
First trip to the line today for Carr. 72% foul shooter on the year, and he knocks down the first. Still 6:28 to play. The lead back to single digits. For Iowa State, led by as many as 15.
This is Texas's best scoring group on the floor. The three guards of the bigs, Dessou and Allen. They have the scoring power to get back in this game.
Little reach by Ramey, no shot. Mentioned Carr, his second half. He had 2 points at the half. He has scored 10 in the second half.
Well, that's also a great benefit for Texas right now because they are not the bonus. Iowa State is not.
That was the 17th foul. Iowa State has 7. 5 against Texas. 3. And the rare misses from Kauscher, and Hunter trying to save it. You'll love the effort, though, if you're a Cyclone fan, from your freshman Tyrese Hunter.
Yeah, the effort has been there, but Brockington, yes, exactly. Brockington, he really goes after rebounds on either side or other end of the floor.
And now here comes the Cyclone crowd trying to help their team defensively. Carr turns, shoots. Brockington comes down with a rebound, had it taken away, but he was fouled by Allen, who just fouled out of the game. I believe.
Dessou.
It is Dessou.
Yep.
So it keeps Allen in the game, and Dessou has picked up 3 quick fouls.
Yeah, looked like the right call. Allen was really nowhere near.
Tristan Lacombe comes back in. He's played 6 minutes of this game.
Why does Lacombe in for defense? I guarantee you, he was exceptional. The minutes he had here earlier, second half.
Allen defended Kauscher up the floor.
And he's got Kauscher inserting the offense. He's got the Brockington and Hunter working out of the corner.
Jones, a bullet pass for Grill. Who touched it last? Apparently Texas did.
Yeah, they got Jones in isolation in the middle of the floor. Denied the ball at the wing and forced him to try to make a play.
10 on the shot clock. Catch and shoot, Brockington. And Jones picks up the foul as he came crashing in.
I don't want to overstate it and be hyperbolic here, but that's a huge foul for Iowa State because, Mark, you keep the crowd out. The crowd, sure, they'll boo or what have you with the free throws, but they're not engaged in the game like you want them. And then you also give Texas an opportunity to get 2 free throws.
But no time going off the clock.
There you go.
Jones, 4th foul. He's coming out.
Right. You do it without having any clock usage.
Longhorns are on a 6-0 run here. It was 64-50 Iowa State. So Allen at the line, shooting a 1-and-1, and swishes the first. He's number 6 in the conference in free throw shooting at 75%.
Allen, Hunter having a nice little exchange.
Allen hits both. Cunningham's going to come in for Allen.
And this is foul management. Got the score where he wants it if you're Beard, Coach Beard.
Take a look at the numbers for Allen and Brockington. Not the scoring numbers you would expect, but for 2 different reasons. Brockington, Chris Beard's team's tried to take out of the game offensively. Allen has been foul issues. He picked up 2 fouls in the first 16 seconds of the game.
And although those numbers, they tell a story, but not the whole story. You still need these guys on the floor.
Kalsher, and right into the chest of Dessou. 3 to shoot. Kalsher's going to have to put it up. At the end of the clock, Ramey driving lane won't fall. Dessou gets it back. Count the basket. Goal 10 on Brockington.
So if you saw the beginning of that play, Mark, he was calling as if he was going to call a timeout. He fooled the defense, and Ramey turned the corner and went to the basket.
Chris Beard comes to midcourt. He wants to hear because T.J. Otzelberger is up there in the ear of Darren George, and now Rick Crawford escorts Beard back to his position. We had a lane violation. Oh, yep. Foul on Texas. Foul was on Lacone. Kalsher needs a timeout. Tell you what, Larry.
Here's the ball. Do something with. He put his back against the wall, if you will. Carr has responded.
Here's Hunter, who has tied a career high with 7 assists. That's 7 in the win over Oregon State early in the year. Not have a turnover either, by the way.
Guarding their best player.
Before the shot. Foul on Lacone.
I mean, what kind of confidence is that in Coach Beard to put Lacone on one of the best, if not the best, offensive player in the Big 12 in Brockington? Certainly has an athletic advantage and playing time advantage. Rhythm advantage.
Yeah, 1-and-1 here after the 17th foul against Texas. Lefty is short with it. All right, Lance, 4.5 minutes left in this game. Not a ton has gone right for Texas overall, but they're only down 7. This is well within reach for them.
Yeah, that's a big deal in spite of the way they played. And they've got to maintain their aggression. Texas does because they are in the bonus. It's a great way to eke your way back into the game. We talked about it a moment ago when Allen had his free throws. Now Ramey will get a couple. Mark, that's the way you can use someone else's aggression against them, because it looks to me like Iowa State is going to stay in some aggressive trapping action off of ball screens. And so if I'm Texas, I attack the double team so I can get to the free throw line.
2 shots. Ramey hits the first, his first free throw attempt of the game. 4 fouls for Kuntz, but he's going to come back in the game for Condit. This is a 5-point game with 4:17 to play in Ames. It's a great matchup between 21st ranked Texas, 15th ranked Iowa State here on Big 12 Now on ESPN+.
Yeah, Texas does such a great job of shooting free throws. You don't want to put them on the line too often. In the conference play, they're shooting 78%.
Carr almost able to deflect that off a Cyclone. Kalsher will inbounds again. Rockington had the defender Lacone fall down, so he brings it into the front court.
Yeah, I thought that was a good no call. Texas switching.
Kalsher. A career high. And 3 points. His 6th made 3 of the game. Draws contact and rolls around and out. Gonna stay with Texas though. 3:38 to go. Anytime Iowa State's need an answer, it's been Kalsher today.
Yeah, it's cold outside, but there's a man who is on fire, and his man's name is Gabe Kalsher. Oh, he's hot.
Well, the Big 12 stacked from top to bottom today in this conference. We've already seen a winless in conference play K-State get their first conference win, beating the team that was the hottest in the conference coming into today at Texas Tech. Right now, Iowa State here at home trying to hang on to an 8-point lead with 3:38 to play. Taking on number 21 Texas. Gabe Kalsher has been the big scoring star today for Iowa State with 22 points. Kalsher, his season high is 30. That came in the game against Memphis in the NIT season tip-off in Brooklyn. But Iowa State won that game over Memphis by 19 points. I think this 22 points against Texas in conference play, even more impactful. What a day he's had.
Yeah, the collateral impact. Not only that, it's, as you point out, it's in conference against a team, Texas team that sits at or near the top of the Big 12. So it's been extremely special, especially you've got Brockington and Hunter not scoring, stepped up in a huge way.
Ramey able to somehow find Lacone, who does a skip pass. Jones. Carr able to save it. Down to 5. He puts up a 3, and that is a foul. Brockington got him on the elbow. 3 free throws here for Carr with 3:21 to go.
Well, the thing you've got to monitor with Iowa State is sometimes when you struggle on the offensive end or don't score, it can leak into other parts of your game. That's the area where Brockington has to be careful. And he knows, you can tell by his expression, just a silly foul, late clock situation. You got to force Carr and make a big shot there, shake his hand versus fouling him and putting him on the line.
Carr hits the second. He can make this a 2-possession game if he hits the final one. I've been talking for a good chunk of the second half now, Lance, about, hey, still plenty of time for Texas, but that narrative is starting to change with 3:21 to play.
Yeah, and Iowa State has done a great job responding every time Texas gets a little close, and right now they are a little close.
Carr stole it, but then stepped on the baseline. Those two things may have happened simultaneously, but nonetheless a near steal for Carr. Rockington looking to get it in, and he will throw it ahead for Hunter, who finds Kuntz. Will hand it back to Hunter, but Allen has got to be careful with 4 fouls.
Good job by Kuntz waiting to get the ball into Hunter's hands. State does such a great job of not allowing the ball to stick.
Hunter! Jones was able to come back from behind and commit the foul, but Hunter had a half step or so on him to get to the rim.
Yeah, and as good as Jones has been today, you see he gets caught out of position there. On the defensive end, he's given up a bit much, and he was almost late there.
Yeah, he was a good stride behind him. And
yeah, late coming out, so he should have pulled up short. Jones is a fine ball player, particularly on the offensive end, but defensively, they've almost been seeking him out. He just has to maintain himself between the man he's guarding and the basket. But hats off to Iowa State for identifying where there's opportunity on this end of the floor.
Hunter has a career-high 8 assists. This is a free throw for the first time today in 6 attempts. Under the 3-minute mark. Carr picked out by Iowa State.
This will be a play to score here. Iowa State has to pay attention to guys coming off the screens here for looks.
Ramey catch and shoot 3 is too long into the arms of Koontz. Now the clock becoming more of a factor, especially for Texas down 7.
All about game management here if you're Iowa State.
Hockeyton has to come back to get it. 7 to shoot. Kalsher, who's been so outstanding today, just a little off the mark with that 3.
Yeah, you almost think, what the heck happened? That guy, anything he puts up is going to be a basket.
Ramey trying to get it underneath, about to come crashing in underneath the basket, and he's slow getting up.
Well, he does crash in, look like into the basket standard.
A little help from Allen and McComb to get to his feet, but we'll listen to this again as he comes full head of steam, and obviously we have the base of the backboard mic'd up.
Yeah, it does. It sounded like a stunt man in a movie. Wow.
Fortunately, that is padded, but took a little bit of the sting away. Gets a little bit of room, is off the front rim, and now here comes Hunter. Ramey trying to get back. Hunter adjusted, lays it in. 2 minutes to go, and Iowa State is up 9.
He was under such control to get that finish. It looked, well, the message really that Iowa State has given Texas is if you're going to get back in this game, you're going to need to be perfect. And so Texas can't miss those free throws, can't have the turnovers. Even at this point, too many more missed shots and still have a chance at getting back in this game, Mark.
Kalsher. Iowa State handles the pressure.
Look, it doesn't show up in the box score. What a great decision. He had a straight line to the basket. He backs it out. He's going to run some clock and some offense to get a good look as they spread the floor. Allow Hunter to do work from the top.
Kalsher. An emphatic stuff from Brockington. Allen falling the ball over. Exactly. No question, he has made another massive leap forward in his development. Long pass for Grill. Comes down with it like he's Travis Kelce. There's a foul. That was Mahomes to Kelce down the court.
Yeah, and the DB didn't break that up because that ball had a lot of air under it. That was something you would have broke up in your day, I guarantee you.
I did play cornerback way back into that's a long time ago though.
That's also me doing great research. And I saw you looking, man. Your eyes were on that ball. You were like, that's a free ball. That's right.
69 seconds left. Hunter at the line. 32 minutes he's played today.
probably the only criticism I can give the young man, Hunter, missing that free throw.
Carr, with under a minute to go, underneath layup, Allen. It's down to 8.
Know that Texas is not going to smash on the brakes. Chris Beard team, they'll play all the way to the end.
Brockington, that is tied up. Possession arrow, keeping it with Iowa State.
Boy, sometimes you just got to be lucky. Possession goes Iowa State.
Now you can hear in our crowd mics, somebody was trying to call timeout.
Yep. Didn't happen quick enough.
Sit in. That was Kalsher was trying to call timeout.
Yeah, and that their point to the crowd. I mean, when it's noisy like that, a lot of times refs can't hear.
Hunter
10 seconds.
does not get it over in time. Texas trying to keep their hopes alive here with just 45 seconds left.
Boy, a little bit of a Hunter lull. Fell asleep with the shot clock and also a missed free throw. Two rare occurrences for the young freshman in terms of mistakes.
Where does Texas go here? Need some quick points.
They got the floor open for Carr.
Gotta hurry. Carr. Jones just leans in off the back rim. Febres touched it last and out of bounds to Iowa State. A host of subs. In fact, a whole brand new 5 come on the floor for Texas.
These are guys who have played.
Quick foul.
You can't say that Coach Beard is throwing the towel in because he's put in unique lineups today to get back in this game. Right now, it looks like he's going offense, defense.
Each team in the double bonus. This is 2 shots for Hunter. He had hit his first 5 from the line, has missed his last 2. The line change again. Texas, since they're going to be back on offense momentarily, perhaps.
Yeah, he has his guys that can make threes. Texas does. Looks have been hard to come by for Texas here, particularly late.
Hunter's 2 free throws, push it back to 10. Texas got to hurry. Into the corner, open 3, Ramey, good. Down to 7, 21 seconds left.
Texas, you don't get this steal, you've got to foul right away.
Brill fouled by Ramey.
Clock is your enemy.
Number 3, Courtney Ramey, is third.
Well, Texas is unable to come back here late. It'll be back-to-back losses. The last 2 Saturdays for them.
Been talking about Kalsher and his job today, Mark, but the supporting cast for this entire Iowa State ball club has just done an exceptional job of stepping up, really countering the Texas game plan.
Carr 3. And it looks like Chris Beard's going to call him off. 15th ranked Iowa State get another win against the top 25 opponent, beating 21st ranked Texas 79-70.